Alright, we're live.
Cool. Hey everyone, I have returned.
After how many weeks? 5?
Two or three, I think.
What? Wow.
Maybe 4.
That's a lot shorter than I thought.
Anyways.
Oh my fucking god, I am sorry for that.
For the 47th episode of Season 5. 3 more, and we hit 50. This is already the longest season of the podcast. So, let's go all the way.
What's caffeine?
What?
I don't know.
Canada? Who drinks Canada Dry?
I do when I'm sick.
Fucking...
Right, as per I drunk it.
I got my is dead soda. Wait, this is wild shirt. What the hell? I thought they got regular Pepsi. Fuck.
This is upside down Pepsi.
They keep getting the same damn sodas. It's like I need to buy my own to get what I want.
Alright. Well, before we get to our main topic tonight, anybody have any other thing they want to talk about? So I have a rant, kind of.
Well,
Rant, go on.
I have a story that I don't think really fits the main topic because it wouldn't make sense to me.
Okay.
So, basically, to put it simply, my youth group decided to do... Well, I don't know if it was the youth group's decision, but it was probably. But my youth group decided to do this car show, and it ran today. I had to get there at about 7:30, and I helped them cook some chicken on this huge barbecue thing, and it was more like a fire pit, and they had like metal racks, I guess, and we put this marinade on it, and I guess it was supposed to give it flavoring or whatever and make it more tender or something. But anyways, so I do that, and I noticed some things. When they flipped it, they used 2 racks at a time, one which is what the chicken's cooking on, and then another that's empty, and they stack them on top of each other and then grab both handles and flip them. And the first couple times they did that, they actually dropped a couple pieces of chicken in the coal. So they decided to push it off to the side after having a little bit of a panic attack, a mini panic attack or whatever. I don't know. And then after that, I think they only dropped a piece of chicken one other time, and they decided to actually grab that, and it fell in the coals, by the way, but they decided to grab it and put it right back on the racks and continue cooking it. And they're like, oh yeah, we can just brush off the dust or dirt or whatever. And it's like, you know, I don't think that's going to be very good to eat if it fell in coals. So...
Charcoaly flavor.
Yep, so we continue cooking them, and eventually the head person that's running the cooking thing decides that it would be a great idea to take those 2 pieces of chicken that they pushed off to the side, which seemed to be on old racks or whatever, that's in the dirt or whatever. Well, it's not exactly in the dirt. I don't know what it's for, actually. Oh, wait, no, it's for coal. Derp. Whatever. Anyways. So, you grab the 2 pieces of chicken from those old racks, or at least it looked old, and fucking put them on over the coals, over fire, where every other piece of chicken is cooking. And you know why this is really bad of an idea? Because, one, part of the chicken is already burnt because they took time before they even removed them off the coals when they were first dropped. And second, They took 4 hours, they didn't remove the 2 pieces of chicken, and now they decide to put them back after they've been sitting there for 4 fucking hours. Now, listen, I'm not a master at cooking, not by a long shot, but I can fucking guarantee you that nobody would want to eat that piece of fucking chicken when you consider it cooked. No fucking way in hell. Because that shit will make you sick. And even if it doesn't taste bad, you know, it's still not going to be fucking tender anymore because you left it there for 4 hours. It's like, what the hell? It's already burnt. And, like, are you fucking kidding me? Why are you, like, I know you want to be conservative, but come the fuck on. You don't just do that. I swear to God, if Gordon Ramsay fucking saw that shit, you would be fired on the spot. Oh my God, it was such a fucking stupid idea. Also, another thing that
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this much: if the chicken really was that bad at that point, you might as well just have fire ants prepared by Bob.
So, anyways, another thing they did was to cook 5 pieces of chicken that did not have marinade on them. Now, I don't know why they were doing this because, well, first off, you could say all you want about how, oh, well, this marinade contains egg, which it did contain egg. So, some people are allergic to egg, and therefore, we must have chickens that aren't cooked with marinade on them. And, yeah, that's a pretty reasonable argument until you find out that it was only 5 pieces of chicken, and those were the only 5 pieces of chicken that were cooked without marinade. And even then, they were cross-contaminated because, well, to put it simply, sometimes they would move the racks to different portions of the fire pit, so then it would be brought to hotter or cooler pots or parts of the thing. And they were moving these racks over the chickens that weren't supposed to have marinade on them, and every other piece of chicken had marinade on them. Sometimes to a point where there's little tiny pools because we had to use this like mop thing or whatever that I'm assuming was clean to get the marinade on the chickens. But yeah, they were lifted over, and at one point they were flipping all the racks. And guess what? There was only one rack they could use, assumingly at least, because I didn't see them bring out any others. And surprise, surprise, they flipped the rack with the chickens that weren't supposed to have marinade. And just before I know it, bam, cross-contamination. And you want to know what they told me? Oh, the marinade just burns off the rat. Well, it doesn't really, I don't feel that it really matters because, okay, your one rule of preparing food that most people can eat and then other foods that some people cannot eat. You do not use the same equipment on the stuff that you already fucking used the... Oh, okay, like, okay, let me just make an example, because I think I just fucked up my explanation. So, you go to a DQ, and obviously they're going to have peanuts there, and you want an Oreo shake. You have to tell them not to use the same equipment that they use on the peanut products, so then there's no cross-contamination. If you don't, then if they're not smart enough, or if they don't think about it, then they're going to run the risk of cross-contamination and bam fucking lawsuit if the person gets an allergic reaction. It doesn't matter if you even just rinse the peanut off. No, if you're gonna use that equipment, you need to wash that fucking shit off. Like, clean it. Not rinse it, no, clean it. So, therefore, by them using the same rack that had the chickens with marinade on them, even though they say that, oh, it burns off, I don't think it matters because I still consider it cross-contamination because the same equipment was used on that food. So, yeah, there's that. And then eventually I get to a point where I'm just sitting around doing absolutely nothing for 10 minutes straight. And I decide to ask, hey, do you still need me anymore? And I was told no. So I took it upon myself to walk around the area and actually look at the cars. The cars were pretty decent, actually, but there was a couple problems. One, there were some cars that were basically similar to each other, almost to a point where they're identical, because I swear to God, there was a couple cars where it's like the same build, the same fucking body, except the one difference is the color of the outside of the body. The paint job was the only fucking difference. And then some cars were newer cars. Why are there newer cars in a car show? What are you showing exactly? I mean, the cars you're supposed to show at a car show aren't typically sold in, like, a mass store anymore. No, these fucking new cars, yeah, they're still being fucking sold. I don't care if it's expensive or rare, it's still newer car. Unless you're gonna bring a car that would be considered, you know, an expensive car back then what's the point of bringing your car exactly? And also on top of that, there was a couple Corvettes, there were a few Mustangs, but just like how I said with if it was a newer car back then, but you bring it now, then it's fine. This ties in with the fact that there was a few Mustang cars, and there were more Mustangs than Corvettes. Some of the Mustangs were actually newer cars, but then other Mustangs were actually older, and I think that's welcome. But here's where tragedy strikes. Okay, so I'm facing away from the last car that was there in the car show. So I go to turn around, and do you want to know what I see? I see a morbidly obese man in the passenger seat, looking at his phone, and I just fucking walk away immediately, just fucking immediately, like I didn't, upon instinct, literally.
That's nothing. Once I saw a morbidly, I was at a lake swimming with my friends, and we saw an obese man in a Speedo.
Oh, damn.
And let me just get this out the window. When I mean morbidly obese, I mean to the point where you literally cannot even see the seat he's sitting on. Like, the seat is just not there from where I would look. I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to make a joke or anything. That's literally what I saw. No seat, morbidly obese man looking at his phone, in a car parked in the car show parking lot area. Why is there a guy there? You're not supposed to be in your fucking car. Get out of there. We want to see the car, not your fucking fat body. I'm sorry, but goddamn.
Oh, as I was playing my brand new Zelda Ocarina of Time N64 cartridge I got at the game store today, I sang this to Mario. Fat guy in a little car, fat guy in a little car, fat guy in a little car, fat guy in a little car.
Song over.
Yeah, song's over. Go on.
I've seen so many fat people in drive-thru at McDonald's. It's weird. I wonder how they see the car because their stomachs are touching the steering wheel. They're like,
oh, whoa, oh, whoa. What? Jeez.
What?
Van Delia's just said, like, he's like, sometimes he sees, he claims that he questioned how some people that go in the drive are able to drive. What the hell?
Because their stomachs are actually touching the steering wheel.
Like, you see that, or you assume that?
I seen it. I've been drive-through.
Oh my god!
See, like they're like I guess all the way back, or they're all the way back, or what? But they like there, it's like touching the steering wheel.
Wow, that's.
They're like, I'll take a large meal with a Diet Coke.
Oh my!
I'm on a,
you get anyone
I'm on a McDonald's diet.
No, not a McDonald's diet, a McDiet.
Any diet. If I get a Diet Coke, like, I can get the supersized meal. Cause that'll counteract it. That'll balance it out.
Fucking McDonald's is so unhealthy that their water even tastes like shit. Oh, also, yeah, I mean that. It's a different story, probably for a different time, but let me continue with my current story, though. So, yeah, I look at all the cars, minus the one that had the fucking obese man in it, and, then I decided to actually get some food. Now, here's the thing. The person that, invited me... Oh my god, I don't know where that came from. I apologize. But the guy that I know, that's the head of the youth group, he promised me that there would be free food, and that's assuming if I even helped out with food, which I did all fucking morning. I'm not joking. So, I asked him about the free food. You wanna know the weirdest thing? He acted as though that I was joking and then walks away. And I'm just standing there confused. It's like, wait, so is he gonna do something, or is nothing gonna happen? Like, what the hell? So then, I go find my dad, I tell him about it, and, oh, side note, my dad is friends with the head of the youth group. So, he goes up to the person, and it turns out that he is doing something about it, but apparently he's buying the food for me, and when my dad found that out, he offered to buy it instead, but the person insisted otherwise. And just so you know, the chicken cost $7, and that's what, oh, okay, let me fucking retry that. You pay $7 for the chicken, and with the chicken, you also get some beans, and a roll with butter, if you wanted, and potato salad, but I chose against potato salad. And, apparently there were some dessert items, too, but I decided not to get them, because I didn't bother wanting to figure out if I was allergic to the cookies or not. So, yeah, I go to eat it. The beans were good. The roll was the roll was alright, but then the chicken. Now, for some reason, they decided to wrap the chicken in tinfoil, and I guess it's because there was a difference between white and dark meat during cooking or something. So, yeah, they just decided to wrap it, label it white or dark meat, and then go from there. So, oh, and the fucking piece of chicken was actually a pretty decent size, but while opening, a lot of blood came out. Now, this isn't like a flood of blood or anything, but there was a lot of drops of blood coming out of the fucking tinfoil. It got mainly on my napkin, a little bit on the table, and some on my plate. So...
Did you order your chicken extra rare?
No, like, okay, when I went up there, it's like, do you want white meat or dark meat? And I chose white meat. So, yeah, I eventually get the tinfoil open, because I don't know why, but apparently it was a pain in the ass for me. Maybe it was, I think it was because I was trying to avoid the blood, but whatever. So, I eventually get it open, and I cut into it, and the skin tastes like fucking crap. But then, here's the thing. The chicken had... Okay, it was tender, it was juicy, but... Well, I don't know about juicy, actually, but There was no flavor at all. There was zero flavor. I was shocked because I was the person that helped marinate. I helped marinate, or oh my god, I'm afraid I'm using the wrong term. I was the person putting marinade on the fucking chicken. Well, I wasn't the only one, but still, I was putting them on the fucking chicken. I knew I was doing that, and yet there's no fucking flavor. And there would be pools of fucking marinade on the chicken. We'd do it a couple times on each side, and yet no fucking flavor. None. Zada. So, I'm like, what the fuck? So, I had no choice but to continue eating it because I didn't want to look awkward in public. And eventually, I had enough to the point where I just didn't want it anymore. Oh, and keep in mind, I didn't have a fucking drink. I already drank all my water because I brought a water bottle, but it was already gone. So, I eventually brought it to my dad. And he tasted it. He thought it tasted like shit. He said the same exact thing. And, yeah, at that point, we kind of just left. We didn't leave without notice, but, I mean, we pretty much just left at that point. So,
I actually gave Mario 2 theories why the chicken didn't taste good. It was infected by Subject A, Shrek, or Subject B, the Chicken Man.
And Schnick?
And was there another subject?
No, there's more to it. So okay, fine, if you won't finish it, I will. So, Schnick gives me two options for theories. Either it was Shrek or the Chicken Man, and I decided, no, Schnick. No. Those options cannot be right. No. You wanna know who it was? You wanna know who it was? It was Gordon Blair.
Oh, that's right.
It was Gordon Blair. That's who fucking ruined the chicken. Oh.
And then he says, "Hello, eh?" And then Mario snaps his neck for ruining his chicken.
Oh, and also, one last thing. I may or may not get this wrong, but I'll tell both things that I thought and was told. So, they were also selling hot dogs there. I didn't have a choice whether or not I wanted to get chicken or hot dog. I was forced to get a chicken. And personally, I would prefer a hot dog. But when I looked at the prices, a hot dog costed $9 while the chicken cost $7. My dad says otherwise, saying it was probably something like $3. Well, not probably.
That sounds BS.
I'm saying probably. He's saying definitely. So, yeah, I'm going to have to check back with the person that runs the youth group tomorrow and ask him what price was the hot dog, because I'm almost certain it was $9, which is
yeah, I think it's even worse than goddamn Disney.
And I think that would be ridiculous, because that would be $2 more than the chicken. And you think you get more out of the chicken than the hot dog? Well, apparently not according to the price.
If you like the Disney price, hey, with this prices, I want to ride. I want to go on a ride with these prices.
I honestly, I don't fucking know, dude. But that's basically my story. That happened today.
Before we get to our main topic, I want to rant about something.
Didn't Schnick have something too, by the way?
Oh.
I don't think so. Like, I mean, mine is actually very quick. Mario talked about his day. My day was that I got on a train, rode all the way to close to the area where 2 retro game stores I have access to are, and I walked it. I brought my school bag with me. My dad made a sandwich. I mean, I could have made it myself. I guess he decided to, just because he was being nice, I guess. And I eat the sandwich on the train. And he also gave me a few cans of Canada Dry and a bag of pretzels. But all I drank was 1 can of Canada Dry. And that was like after I got out of the first store and started the trek to the second one. Like all together, I did like over an hour of walking. But it was worth it because I did get a few good things. Like I mentioned earlier, I got an actual cartridge of Zelda Ocarina of Time that might be the uncensored version.
Uncensored version?
Yeah, because when Ocarina of Time first got released, like a later re-release of the game, there's a scene where Ganondorf coughs up blood in the original version, and they turn it green like in the re-release.
Oh.
I checked the cartridge. There's 3 different versions on the N64.
Isn't there like also a version where they like had like Arabic music in the one temple?
Yeah, but that's the same one. That's the same one, actually. Unfortunately, I can't tell. I'm going to have to look in my game. Like, I'm going to have to keep playing it. I mean, then again, I did want to get Zelda Ocarina of Time, an actual cartridge of it, only because, well, this one was only $28. I feel like that's actually kind of cheap. And because, you know, it's a very important game to the Nintendo 64. I mean, personally, I don't think the Zelda series would be one of my personal favorites, but I was digging Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, so. But anyways, there were a few other games I got. Like, one probable one-off Let's Play target.
People for Dora's Army.
Side note, I actually had that game as a kid.
Cue the Jaws music.
In fact, when the employee was checking me out, he sees this game in the pie. He's like, "Getting this game, hmm?" And I explained to him it's for a YouTube video. He's like, "Oh my god, that sounds awesome."
We should record that tonight after the podcast.
We probably will, because I was fucking around in it. Like, when I was playtesting it, I showed it to Mario, and he couldn't see because of the white balance. But yeah, I did get a bunch of games. Like, I'm playing the 4th Star Ocean right now. I also got the first Ratchet & Clank Future. I got Crimson Skies only because of the Xbox One backwards compatibility. Oh, I also got a Spider-Man game on Genesis, so.
And Schnick, when you were showing me Teletubbies, I could see it for the majority of the time, but when you were showing me one specific thing, when you put your phone down, that's when white balance occurred, and it fucking ruined it.
Well, that's because I brought the That's right, because I brought the phone close to the TV, but I couldn't keep it like that because, number one, I was playing a game that required the use of 2 hands, and 2, because the phone was dying and it needed to be plugged in.
Well, yeah, but it was when you set it down, though, because you were holding it a lot of the time. It's not important. Anyways, continuing.
Huh?
Vandalia, your cue.
Oh, it's my turn.
Vandalia.
Once again, before we get to our main topic, I have a rant I want to get off my chest.
Oh boy, here we go.
Lately, I've been streaming a game, World of Warcraft, that I've been playing on and off for about 20 years. We've actually, World of Warcraft has only been on for 10 years. And before that was an RTS game called Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. Anyway, that's not the point. This weekend in California is the annual, people call BlizzCon event. Where all the fans, all the fans of Blizzard games go there for a big convention. And have fun, I guess. I'm too poor to go. I'm too poor to go to these things. Anyways, the game I played, there was 2 new expansions announced for the game. One I'm excited for, and one not so much. One expansion is called Warcraft Classic, where they're making the game like it was back in 2004, like old school quests and stuff.
I think it was didn't they call it Warcraft Vanilla or Warcraft Classic? I don't know.
Yeah, Classic. Yeah, people call it Vanilla because it's the original. It's the original, plain. But anyways, I've always wanted to try it out. The only way you can play it is to do illegal servers that they're illegal. People copy the data, pirate servers, whatever they're called. And so no one can play it unless they do that, because that's against the terms of service and all that jazz. So, because I've always wanted to see the storylines of back then, because I'm a story person, I'm a lore person. I want to be able to see these things. Ugh, damn it! And I can't because when the 4th expansion came out, they remodeled the whole world, and all those quests were no longer available. So I could no longer see what game was like back then. The stories were in the chain quest. So I'm excited to see what the story was back then, and if it was. And people say it was very hard. I don't see if it was hard. People say it was. Plus, if it starts at the beginning, it can be a good chance to do an entire Let's Play of the entire game, story-wise, that MarioTube is going to edit eventually.
Eventually. Oh.
But anyways, let's bring me my second expansion, which is the real expansion, because that's just a remake of the old expansion. But it's called. Which I'm not looking forward to at all. I am story-wise a bit, but I'm also not, because it's called Battle for Azeroth, and apparently the 2 sides are at war with each other, which makes a lot of people happy because people like the fighting part. I don't. I hate PvP. I just do. I mean, some people like it. Unfortunately, I don't play. Some of the realms I play on are PvP realms because my friends play on. But I hate going out doing stuff and just getting what they call it ganked, just being killed by high-level players just because they can. Like I'm doing a quest. Oh look, I'm level 90 doing a quest. Oh look, you're level 100. Oh look, I'm one-shotted. Just because they feel like doing it. I hate that. But now, apparently, they're getting, for game mechanical wise, they're getting rid of that, and all realms are now going to be PvP realms. Just period. No choosing this or that. Like this could be all that. So no matter what realm you're on, you can just be killed by being out there. And I hate that.
I'll tell you, that reminds me of how everyone loved how Smash Bros. 4 mostly became a multiplayer game when I liked the single-player unlocking crap that was in Melee and Brawl. Like, that actually had value, but nope, everyone just loves multiplayer, so take out most of the single-player.
And then, also, as a story, hopefully they explain it later, but as a story, I have no idea why we're each other. We just, both sides just teamed up together in this current game right now to kill a demon lord, trying to destroy the planet, Sargeras, the Dorian Legion, trying to kill our planet. So we'll team up together, beat the threat. And all of a sudden, okay, we beat the big bad. Okay, what now? Oh, we'll kill each other. We'll kill each other now, just because no more common threats. So I guess we kill each other again. And they better at least have a reason why we're at war again. That's all I'm saying. There's like no reason at all. Because it's called Warcraft. You gotta be at war. So yeah, that's my rant.
Sorry you just heard that loud thing. I realized why my room wasn't being cool yet the outside my door is cool, and apparently my window was closed. And I didn't even realize it. Hopefully it'll get a lot cooler in here. I don't know what that sounded like, but if it was really loud to headphone users, I highly apologize.
Yeah, like I said, but that's my rant about the two games. One I'm excited for, one I'm not so excited for.
Huh.
And I guess that brings us to our main topic. The events in our lives and the events in our world that made us and the world what it is. I'm reminded of Snick's essay from back in the Remembrance podcast, where he was talking about World War II. Remember that, Snick?
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember why. Like, all I remember is that Brandon's birds just died, and I was bringing up World War. Oh right, it's because I had a class where I had to examine where I had to examine a lot of video documentaries and whatnot on World War II, and I had to write frickin' essays for it. But at the same time, 20th century history does genuinely interest me quite a bit. So, and I'm also starting to really dig stuff from like the 17th and no, not 17th, 18th and 19th centuries.
I was thinking at work while I was getting stressed out about something. Like, why did I get stressed out about stuff? What made me going from a happy-go-lucky kid to a, oh my god, I hate everybody sometimes phase in my life I'm in now? Like, what? How did the world go from the 90s, where everyone was skiing along, to the SJW domination we have today? How did Snick go from the RPG maker of middle school to the famous YouTuber of today? And how did MarioTube go from whatever he was to whatever he is now?
Oh, thanks. Here, let me fill in the blanks for you. We'll see how I went from being an autistic fuck to not being as bad of an autistic fuck.
So who wants to go first?
I should probably go last, but at the same time, I don't know if any of you are going to ramble, because I actually do have a pretty big story. Kind of, maybe.
I feel like my story would be kind of long, too.
Yeah, well, maybe you should go last, because I know you can go on long tirades, and you don't get any time for everyone else.
Maybe.
So.
Oh, you're going first?
Yeah, Billy goes first. He's the host.
So, for my thing, I told some of these stories already on the other podcasts and my videos, but I used to be a nice person.
What? I thought you already were.
You aren't now. Like, you're the most even with like all the Let's Plays and shit, where I'm getting at games like Toy Story on the Genesis, Shrek on Xbox, Powerpuff Girls, Terminator 3. Can't think of any more on the top of my head. Mario gets triggered at Black Ops 3. Brandon gets super triggered at Shrek on Xbox, and a shit trifectas. You're probably the most passive out of the entire team.
Well, that's in video games. In social life, however, I'm a wreck.
Oh.
I used to be nice and helpful until twice I got walked all over. First by school people, and then by church people.
Church people? Oh no.
Yeah. Well, first the school thing, bullying, you know, for most of my life. First because of my voice, my talking skills, and my stuttering. And then just because somebody wanted to start a rumor that I was gay.
Yeah.
Which made me almost suicidal at that point, back in the 90s. Then, the people at my church helped me out through there. You know, they became my friends. You know, helped me out, and I returned the favor. I grew up. I started, you know, helping out with the kids and the youth group and stuff. Being an assistant teacher and stuff, and doing a puppet show and stuff. Then one new girl made false claims against me, said I was sexually harassing her.
Oh, that shit.
And they automatically believed her. Someone had been there for like a year, maybe a few months to a year, opposed to me, who's been there since I was 5.
Really?
You know, and I just like, screw you all, and I left.
Wow. Are you fucking serious?
Is that the same girl who threatened to take a podcast episode down?
No, it's different girl.
Oh, okay.
This happened in 2000. This happened in 2009.
That's still really bad, though.
Yeah. So like.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
Fuck her.
Oh,
she thinks that because she doesn't have a dick, she can get away with shit like that. Fuck her.
and fuck your church, Vandalia, because your fucking church is a dick.
Yeah. She later apologized.
No pun intended.
I have no problems with her right now. She later apologized to me.
What?
She admitted she was wrong.
And she made up, I guess.
Because apparently, she got pregnant later on, you know.
Whoa! So she learned what real sexual harassment is, hmm?
And the church wanted her to apologize for being pregnant because she was the president of the youth group, or whatever, and she got pregnant. They wanted her to go up there and apologize for being pregnant for the whole church.
I still say fuck that church because they automatically believed her, though.
Well, I do too.
As Vernon Dursley says in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, justice.
So, anyways, from like 2009, so anyways, from 96 to 2009, my whole existence was focused on them, that church, you know. I went to youth groups, Sunday schools, like, all 3 days a week. I was there at church, you know, helping out the kids, doing Bible studies, all that stuff. My life was focused on for those years, trying to. But then that happened.
What, trying to what?
What?
You said that's why I was focused on trying to, and then you cut yourself off, and then you continue with something else.
Just trying to forget, you know, my bully days, you know, because I'm trying to help other kids, not be bullied, you know, trying to help them not go through what I went through, like focus on that, you know, focus on other things. Then that happened, so I was betrayed twice, you know. Both people that were my friends. First in high school, people that were my friends, and then people I was at church with, people I hung out with, they turned on me. So that is when I started my second YouTube video. that day, you can see it. You can see it. When I got over my camera shyness, because I was used to be camera shy too. I thought I looked terrible in pictures and cameras. I thought I sounded terrible because I think I did back then, because it was weird when I did when I made videos before on VHS. My voice sounded way different than it did in real life.
Well, you can say that guy. Well, you can say that for a lot of us, though. Hell, you could even say the same thing for Brandon and me, and most likely Schnick too.
Like,
about camera shyness?
No, about sounding different when you're younger.
Oh, sounding different when you're younger? Oh, most certainly.
Now
yes.
I'm younger, but over tapes and stuff. I sounded like I had like a deep voice, like really deep voice, like hey guys, like hey guys, like who is that? Who was that? Like that was you? Like what?
Then again, I do think I have a fairly immature sounding voice on camera, and then when I feel like when I'm having discussions with like people outside of like recordings, like at school, when I'm working, or with family members, I feel like I have a more mature voice, but maybe that's just me.
I think I mentioned this on the solo episode I did of the podcast about me, my history, that before all this went down at the church, I was thinking about making my YouTube channel about Christianity, about helping, doing puppet shows for kids and stuff on my YouTube channel, and doing Bible stuff. And then that happened, and I'm like, screw it, and I started doing rants and vlogs.
And then you started this podcast.
Years later, years later, yeah, I'm like, but my first video after returning to YouTube after 2 years was like, well, I have a lot of free time on my hands now, so I got to do one thing, but now I have free time on my hands, so here you go, videos now. So that made me, those events made me go from helping people, being nice to being more, not laid back, more inward, less trusting of people. Like I part of me wants to go out there and be nice and tell other people, like, if I do that, they're going to betray me, because I've been burnt before, and I don't want to get burnt again. So now I'm more introverted and snappy at people when people like joke around. I'm like, no. I get angrier. I'm just like.
Does that only happen when you're with somebody face to face, or is it like generally speaking?
Generally speaking, it takes me a while now to open up to people now.
Really? Like, you're talking today, right? Or are you saying...
Yeah, today. I still have issues with trust. I've known you guys for a while. So.
Well, I mean, I think as far as... Well, I can't say anything about trusting, because obviously it's just not possible. But in terms of being snappy or whatever else you said, when we were first talking with each other, I don't think that really happened ever.
I guess nothing you did ever triggered me.
Really? Like I said, that's just beyond trust. I don't know what your thought process was when you were first talking to me. I can't say anything about that. It's just not possible, but I mean, I didn't really notice anything.
You're just a random guy that's Nick brought along for a Let's Play.
I mean, the only thing I could probably guess is maybe you were slightly more trusting of me because, well, I came from Schnick, so, you knew Schnick. He was a good person to you, and now I'm a friend of Schnick, and...
Then again, Vandalia, I think we didn't do our first video together until like 2 years after Vandalia discovered me. Like, I think he first commented on my original Cage Recom Let's Play back in like late 2011. Like, it was like December 2011, January 2012. The first KH1 video didn't go up until like March 2013, I think. Definitely early 2013.
Schnick, would you say that any of the things Vandalia said would have fit when you and him first met? At least in Skype calls?
Not really. I just found him to be very soft-spoken, an addict of KH and Sesame Street a little bit, and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Only because the intro that he used in his old Final Fantasy VII videos was the Sesame Street theme song on it.
Vandalia, maybe there's more to it than just that. Or maybe more than what you might realize. But
maybe.
then again, I don't know how you react with people face to face. So that could be a completely different story. But I don't know. That's just what I found, at least.
When a few months ago, somebody started talking to me like they used to talk to me in school, and I just lost it. Talking by stuttering, you know, on purpose, like I used to do, and I just freaking lost it. I broke something at work.
Oh wow!
Because that just
don't break shit. Oh shit!
Like I was ready to smash that kid's head in.
Yeah.
It brought me back to where I used to.
I actually get ticked off pretty easy too when my ma talks with an like sometimes when my mom really wants to get my attention or make me do something, she'll talk with like a tone of attitude in her voice, like saying things like if she's accusing me of not doing something, like I'm like, I did it already. No you didn't. Like she'll talk like that. And if I talk back to her in that same tone of voice, she'll flip off. She'll get mad at me.
It was also my other thing I get mad at. My mom used to accuse me of something I didn't do. Was triggering me back to that church event, you know, accusing me of something I didn't do. I hate when people say you did something or you didn't do something when I clearly did or didn't do it. The opposite, you know, like, and nothing you say, you know, convinces them that you did it or didn't do it, and it's like...
Yeah, that happened to me one time with my parents where... This was a stupid thing to argue over, but literally, I close a box of pizza... Oh my god, I'm stupid. I could have said pizza box. Oh my fucking god. The things I say, I swear to god. Okay. I close a pizza box when I get pizza out, and then I go back, and my parents tell me that I left it open when I know for a fact that I closed it. And yeah, I have a shit memory, but that night or that day, I knew for a fact that I closed it because I struggled with the box to get it closed at first, and I really remember that detail. And that alone...
Maybe it opened it again on its own.
No, that's not fucking possible. But... No, because they were saying it was wide open, not just fucking open. Like, no, the box was wide open. And I told them otherwise, and they wanted to argue about it. Well, first my dad told me, and then he told me that my mom told him. So I went to my mom, she says the same exact thing, wants to argue with me, and I seriously get to a point where I get really pissed off at them at that moment because they don't want to fucking listen to the obvious. And it's like, why would you say that? Like, seriously, why would you fucking say that and point it out like it's a huge deal? That makes no fucking sense. And you could say that, oh, I overreacted, but personally, I felt that my reaction was kind of justified because if I know I did something and I'm being told that I didn't, and I'm constantly having to tell the person otherwise, yet they don't want to listen, then it's like, well, fuck you. But, yeah, I mean, I got over it, but it's like, if that shit happens, then what are you gonna expect? You know what I mean?
But yeah, like I said, you might notice it here, but I am definitely more introverted than I used to be, and less outgoing.
And the funny thing is that you call me more than I call anyone on my fucking Skype. But, yeah, seriously though, I think I've always been an introvert. I I don't know if that's because of just the way my life went, or if it just naturally happened.
But
well, then again, the thing with autism is, you say you're autistic, right? Well, the thing is, people who are autistic just generally have a hard time with social connection, you know?
Well, you could probably argue that when I was a kid or in middle school, but, I mean, surprisingly, I did have friends. Though, another thing, too, with autistic people is that they have a harder time communicating with people. Well, I mean,
that's what I don't think... That's pretty much what I meant to say, sorry.
Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's for every autistic person. I don't remember.
It does depend. Like, it does depend. There's, like, low-functioning autism where you have trouble communicating and understanding, like, social cues, but otherwise you are basically a normal person. Like, you can learn to, like, get over that. But then you also have... No, wait, high-functioning, my mistake. High-functioning autism is that. And then you have low-functioning, where, worst-case scenario, you have someone who's literally retarded.
Yeah. I knew an autistic person that went to MIT.
Well, the thing is, autistic people can be very intelligent, because, you know, they... Especially with, like, certain forms like Asperger's syndrome, they might focus in on one particular subject they really like, and then maybe they just learn the ins and outs of it, and they can really see things that, like, a normal functioning person could not see.
Yeah, I feel that's kind of me.
That's kind of the magic behind it, almost.
Yeah, personally, I feel that's kind of me, because I've tended to like videography, and I'm getting into digital photography through a digital photography class, and I'm really digging that class. I think I have an A in that, pretty much.
I used to be in photography and videography a lot. Back to being when I was camera shy, I decided, since I didn't want to be in front of the camera, I'd be behind the camera, taking the pictures, making the videos.
Yeah.
Because that way, I would be in the picture or in the camera. Because I was ugly and stuff and looked terrible and sound terrible. Like, so I'll make the videos.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if I'm introverted just because of how my life went, or if it's my autism, which it could very well be, or if it's just other miscellaneous things that I don't know right now. Or at least I don't think there's miscellaneous things, but yeah.
So before we get to our life event, what do you guys? How do you guys? What do you think made our country, our world going from everyone to get to the SJW rules the world?
I have one word for... I actually have two words for that. I know exactly what caused it. It's what we're using to do this podcast right now. The internet.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me repeat your question the way I think I heard it. How did we get from back in the 90s to today with SJWs? Is that what you said?
Or yeah, anything, because I mean, literally, back when I was growing up in the '90s, maybe I was just naive, or maybe either I was just naive or something, or maybe, you know, wasn't things weren't widespread as they are today. But literally, I didn't think sexism and racism were still a thing in the '90s. I thought maybe it was where I lived, because from what I think, the females had rights, you know, there's no minorities. We get together in school, you know, went to school together, we did a lot of stuff together. I'm like, I was friends with them. I thought, hey, it's been 30 years since the 60s, I guess. I think it's okay now.
It was probably like that back then, but not to like a big degree as it is today.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure SJWs, I'm fairly certain, have always existed, but The problem is that the internet gave them a voice. Like, even today, SJWs are not many people. There's not many SJWs out there. But they are starting to become grouped together in greater numbers because essentially the actions of the earliest SJWs are encouraging more and more people to turn SJW because SJWs get away with their shit. And that encourages more people to do it because they think they can get away with it.
It's the same thing for the other side too. But like I said, I used to go to church for like 20-some years, and as soon as after I left, I started watching videos about it. And I don't know what it was. I didn't realize it before, but a lot of Christians and churches were. I don't know, it was like also I heard all these things about killing gay people or gay people need to die and all this stuff. And like I don't remember this stuff when I was in church a few years earlier. I'm like, where did all this come from? Like all this the Westboro Baptist people protesting at funerals of military people. Like they go to military people's funerals and say kill all the gays. I'm like these are the people you know what happened? Were we always like this, or is this a new thing? Like what?
All I'm saying is that the internet basically made SJW hateful culture very widespread. And unfortunately, the thing is, the internet is still relatively young, and there's not many laws to control what goes on the internet, but as the years go on, like, I guarantee something major is going to happen that is going to bring reform. But history has always proven that stuff like this doesn't stay the way it is forever.
It's like the two sides.
The only way it will never change is if the world destroys itself.
Yeah. The internet is their thing. It's like the two sides of that stupid national anthem issue.
Oh, yeah.
Which personally, I think both sides are idiots. One side, you know, the ones people, not, you know, apparently, I'm gonna argue against both sides for a second. I guess that's who I am now and who the country is now. The people, you know, not standing for it's their right to do so, obviously, but not because you know they feel oppressed, or whatever. You know, the football players. You know, I'm like you're not oppressed. You're not a woman in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, exactly. You know, it's funny because there was this one video I saw where all these SJWs were like, there's this one very vocal guy, I forget his name, I think his first name's Milo. He's very against SJW culture, and I guess he does say things that go too far, but at the same time, he has genuine supporters, and he's allowed to have a voice.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he like hurts anyone or anything. And there was these SJWs that blocked in students at a university that wanted to go attend a conference he was having. And in the video, you can see one of the SJWs is wearing a shirt saying, "I love Muslims." And a lot of comments in the video are saying, "Oh, she loves Muslims. Why don't you actually go to a Muslim country and see how you're treated there?"
Yeah, first world problems, lady. You know, if you can play about getting sexual harassment there. If you go over to there, you would have no rights whatsoever.
Yeah, like, you think here is bad? Go over there.
But what's your second point?
Women's rights don't exist here. Go to a place where they don't actually exist.
Well, speaking the other side argument, the other side, people are saying, you know, it's un-American. They're not saying, you know, sort of the national anthem, support troops, all that stuff. You're not. People die for that right. Like, no, like to say that the American soldiers died for our right for freedom to choose what we want to do. This is still America. We can do what we want to do, and even though we might not agree with it, even though we might think it's stupid, it's like SJWs. I think SJWs are stupid. But it's still America. We have rights, to talk about what we want to talk about. Even though they might be stupid rights, stupid choices, it's still our freedom to do what we want to do. That's the whole point of the soldiers dying. Freedom.
Oh yeah. Side note. Isn't what those SJWs were doing an illegal protest?
Kind of, yeah, because they were obstructing freedom of speech.
There you go.
But yeah, so like, I guess it thinks right. I guess when you're just watching TV or whatever, you don't get widespread. But when the internet came along, all of a sudden people's voices were everywhere.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing is, all the on the topic of that, like all the SJWs say that, hello. They say that, oh, we have freedom of speech. Like, when Zarna Joshi got thrown out of that Seattle conference room, like, one of her supporters, like, she has freedom of speech, she has freedom of speech, when she was thrown out for basically making talk like a crazy woman, saying that all men are trying to do a patriarchy that oppresses women and people of color. Yeah. And when that's not exactly, but obviously not, but... Yeah. According to Zarna, it's the patriarchy. It needs to die. All men need to die. And all her supporters like, freedom of speech, trying to keep her in the conference room when she needed to rightfully get thrown out for talking like a crazy person. Yeah, it's okay for SJWs to obstruct freedom of speech, like at that one college campus.
They have freedom of speech, but we don't. So like yours, like our opinion, like. Boo! Like,
that's Steven Seagal logic right there. Oh my god.
What about freedom of speech? You don't count.
2 words. Schnick, for what you said with that person talking like a crazy lady, 2 words. Prove it. Prove it!
What do you mean prove it? There's video footage of her doing that.
No, I'm saying she needs to prove what she's saying.
Exactly. Hey, if she really believed that the United States was a patriarchy where men were trying to oppress women, why'd they let her in that room?
But yeah, I guess that's how our country went from people being racist in the 60s to being calm in the 90s to being everyone's sexist again in the 2000s.
Do you think her argument would have at least a little bit of merit if it was back when, women couldn't vote and all that?
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah, kind of.
Even in the 40s, when women were housewives,
Yeah, that's the thing. Especially on TV shows, women were encouraged to just be housewives. Like, don't go out and work. Just simply stay at home, cook dinner when your husband comes home, make sure he has a cigarette, get his recliner ready, make sure he's happy after a long day of work. That's all you need to do.
I'm sorry, ladies. This isn't the 50s anymore. This is the 2000s. But, you have rights.
Yeah, this isn't the 50s. In the 2000s, if you want to go work, you go work. But, in fact, men are actually starting to get more accepted as being stay-at-home dads. So men are getting a little progress, too.
So you're saying that it's like reversing the roles very slowly.
Like essentially, men were expected to go out and work, and women were expected to just stay home and be the stay-at-home mom. I guarantee you, like back in the 50s, there's men who didn't want to work, but they had to.
Guys, do you hear that? Listen. You hear sirens?
Yeah.
Oh no, SJW, call the police because we have freedom of speech. Oh no, guys, run away.
Off topic real fast. I think I posted on Facebook, but yesterday I was making a video, making a Warcraft video, and I heard this strange music. I'm like, what is that? That sounds familiar. I looked outside. Ice cream truck going down my street. about 2 in the afternoon. Ice cream truck in November.
Actually, there was a snow cone truck at the car show that happened today, and I was like, "What is that? What is this song thing? Is this like from some little music box or whatever that goes like this, or whatever?" And I eventually found out, oh, a snow cone machine. You want to know what they were playing? Christmas songs in the beginning of November.
Exactly, just like the AVGN said.
I hate. Don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. It's my favorite. It's my favorite holidays. I love the songs. I love the family. I love to get together. But I hate it in October.
Or November.
That too. Like let Halloween and Thanksgiving time to shine.
You know, it's funny because a couple of years ago, there was snow in October here, and we're not just talking like, oh, like a snow shower, just no accumulation. No, it was a blizzard.
Oh my god.
In like the middle of October. Halloween was unofficially canceled by a lot of parents because of it.
Holy shit.
Well, speaking of Halloween, the other things I've been hearing about lately, something called trunk or treat. People park cars, pennies in their trunks.
Yeah, I think that's mainly used with Christians. Because, I mean, that's the only thing I've ever seen it used with is with Christians. And actually, there's a Wikipedia article about trunk or treat, believe it or not. Well, actually, I'm not sure if it's a whole article or if it's a section in the article for Halloween. I think it's a section, actually, but basically, it talked about how it was a safer alternative to trick-or-treating for parents with younger children. And, you know, I could see that. Honestly, I could see that, but, like... I
understand that. I guess that's right too. But I don't understand that. Why don't you with your kids at trick or treating? If they're that young, you're scared for them. Aren't you usually walk to the doors with them? That's what until I was like 8th grade. I had this adult when I was trick or treating. I had adult supervision for like 8th, 9th grade when I was going out there in the world. I had to be. There was an adult near me all times on the sidewalk. You know.
Yeah.
Like, who lets their kids go out trick-or-treating by themselves unless they're teenagers?
I mean, you could also argue that if they're young children, not like 8 or 7, but like younger than that, you could potentially argue that they might not see, you know, little bumps in the sidewalk and they might fall and hurt themselves. I mean, the only thing I can say about that as a solution is just bring a light.
But yeah. So you say, well, that's my story. That's the world story. You say, was it you two are going first?
Yeah, I'll probably go first because Mario's probably going to drag on for a bit. Sorry.
So what are your dominoes?
As I've told in many of the podcast episodes, when I was young, I was probably next to being like. I was both perfectly sane and completely retarded.
Yep. Because you know why?
Yeah, like...
You know why?
Why?
Because... I press negative. I'm sorry. Okay,
oh my god.
Go on.
Go on.
Schnick.
Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna continue. So what happened is... Yeah, when I was in elementary school, trying to think. Alright, well, the thing is, when I was in elementary school, oh my god, I had this super retarded way of thinking, like... If I was only ever in, like, I was almost like an autistic person. Like, I would only ever want to focus in on stuff that immediately interested me. Like, oh, my PlayStation 2. All my cartoons on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel. Like, my tastes in movies back then, basically, I nearly always avoided stuff that was live action. Like, for the longest time, the only exception was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Actually, just Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Maybe the Harry Potter movies, if we want to stretch it a bit. Actually, yeah, I would definitely count the Harry Potter movies. And even then, I think that's because I got the... Maybe it's because they forced me to sit down for the first movie, but I barely paid attention to it, and then I got the PS1 game, which allowed me to gradually get into it. It wasn't until my dad tricked me into watching Home Alone. And you're not going to believe how he tricked me. He didn't even intend to.
The original Home Alone?
The original Home Alone, yes. He tricked me into watching it because he mispronounced alone as Mulan.
Home Alone. Home Alone.
Yeah, like from him saying that, I thought we were watching Disney's Mulan. So we sit down, I see the title sequence, I'm like, wait, this isn't Mulan, and he, like, basically holds me down in the bed, like, I'd imagine, I don't know if it was literally, but definitely figuratively, and he's like, come on, it's Home Alone, watch it!
I love that movie, Grant.
Yeah, well, I sat through it, and yeah, I digged it big time.
Even though the fourth one's, even though off topic of fast, the fourth one, in my opinion, sucked, because at that point, I mean, if they gone like the third movie, a different character, it'd been fine. But no, apparently this is the same kid from the first two movies. Like, no, it wasn't. It's obvious it wasn't. Retcon beside itself. You know, it's not the same kid.
Yeah, not to mention it was a cheap made-for-TV movie that was supposed to lead into a Home Alone series. Trying to figure out how that works.
Anyways, go on with your next domino.
All right, so. Yeah, that gradually got me into more live-action stuff, albeit not much. But from there, probably the first major change, because here's the thing, throughout first preschool, kindergarten, first, second, and even third grade, everyone put up with me. Like, all the kids, like, I was just acting like a stupid little kid, but you know what? Everyone was a stupid little kid. Like, they're just learning about their surroundings in kindergarten, first, and maybe even second grade if you want to push it. Third grade is when everything began to change. Everyone was getting old. They were starting to learn right from wrong, how to behave like an actual human being. I stayed exactly the way I was. In fact, I probably got worse. And yeah, it got to the point where I was asked, like, I wasn't exactly addicted to my PS2, but I was starting to make requests, like, oh, can I play it a little bit in the morning? Like, to me, I was just painting addiction to my mom and dad. Like, I wouldn't come out of my bedroom, I wouldn't go play outside or anything. I was starting to get fat at that point.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And to me, all that and the thing is, the games I was playing did not have good stories. They were all like a lot of them were based on shitty movies and TV shows. I mean, well, the TV shows were mostly good, but the movies, oh my god. So then early 2005 comes. I did perhaps the stupidest thing I could have done. I feigned injury to skip class.
You talked about that before.
Yeah, I have. Like, I don't have to go into it here. But that resulted in me getting my game privileges taken away on the weekdays. I was only ever allowed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because I wasn't failing in school, but I was like getting a lot of B's and C's. Like, my mom and dad did not like the amount of C's I got. Especially my dad, because he was raised in a country where you needed to get A's or B's or you were fucked. So, what happened from there is that combine my one escape being limited to the weekends only to all the kids basically rightfully calling me out for being a stupid idiot. Thing is, in those early years, I didn't want to hear it. I just thought everyone was being mean to me for the sake of being mean to me. Like, I was legit Chris Chan and Darkside Phil. I thought everything I did was perfect. I never did anything wrong. That one kid who didn't want me to sit at his table in 3rd grade that I was originally a part of but got kicked out of, and then he later kicked the chair out from under me. I had all that coming. He thought I was legit douchebag, idiot, retarded thing. And, yeah, he went that extra mile because ultimately I had it coming, even if I didn't necessarily deserve to get hurt. And it all accumulated in 7th grade. Like, by 7th grade, oh my god, when I had the free time, I was making shitty RPGs. I thought I was a big artiste. I thought everything I was doing was great, lovey-dovey, good.
Was this when you were still grounded for life still?
I was grounded for life from 3rd grade until I graduated high school.
Because at the time you tried to get out of school?
It was the time I tried, because of the time. Well, the thing is, when they first put that rule in place, they promised that they were going to remove it once I basically learned. And sure enough, my grades were much better by the end of the year, but then after the summer, they decided the rule was going to be permanent. But then there would be numerous incidents throughout the rest of elementary school and middle school where they were on the verge of giving me my privileges back, like ending the grounding for good, but I would always do another retarded screw-up that would prompt them to keep it in effect. Probably the one time where they saw as a retarded thing that I don't think was wrong, was when I was playing What If mode in Spider-Man on PS1, and from what I was being told on GameFAQs, you had to play What If mode in one sitting. So I got to the Mysterio boss fight. That's like a little bit less than an hour of the game left. My sister comes downstairs, begs me to let her watch TV. Normally, I would force her out, like, angrily, because I didn't want her bugging me, and not to mention, she would always watch shitty Disney Channel sitcoms, so I would often just leave the basement because I hated them. Back then, see, I had some taste. And this time, I was not mean at all. Like, I just politely asked her, please, let me finish this. Come back in an hour, then you can watch TV, okay? Please? Okay. She goes and rats me out. Yeah. She tried to see if she could watch TV in my mom and dad's bedroom. They told her, my mom tells her no, and then she says, "Oh, Nikki won't let me watch TV downstairs." Did she really think wording it that way was not going to get me in trouble?
Who knows?
But yeah, that was the only time. Other times where it happened included one time where, we were eating lunch at Dutch's. My uncle Wally, the baby's best friend, he asks me to go get napkins. I come back, I give him like 2 napkins. He says that's not enough, go get more. My lazy fat ass said basically told him I don't feel like it. He went and told my ma. He comes back and he says, no games. Like that, I should not have done that. Like that was retarded. But yeah, penultimate. I shouldn't say penultimate because that's going to bring the grammar Nazis in. But so, you know, fuck it. So, penultimately, before the end, we get to 6th grade where I'm actually being targeted by a couple of kids for my retarded actions. One kid who was actually kind of emotionally disturbed. In fact, I even have an 8th grade photo. I'm not going to show the photo to protect his identity in case he looks the same, but in this photo, everyone was smiling except him. He had a fucking angry face.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. And like the original angry face man, he was starting to call me gay. As another friend of his kept harping on me because he liked the Sonic series and I liked the Mario series.
Sega versus Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get to 7th grade. My God. There was one point where a bunch of kids in 7th grade, they noticed how simple curse words got me to laugh, and they decided to make a game out of it. Like, to me, I was like a plaything to them.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. So, 7th grade is where things took a turn for the worse. That's when I started to get bullied big time, but the thing is, I deserved all of it. I was a legit idiot who never wanted to admit any wrongdoing, and it eventually accumulated to where I basically had no friends. Like, eventually I would frequent the guidance office, and I started frequenting the guidance office in 6th grade, but 7th grade I was trying to frequent it, but then even then by that point it wasn't working for me because they actually handpick people to basically defend me from like anyone who wanted to say nasty things. But the thing is, the people they handpicked were basically people who wanted to say the nasty things. Like, they were actually trying to be a bit more constructive, I think, but I didn't want to hear it. And they eventually said, fuck this, we're just gonna join the crowd. And by 7th grade, like by more than halfway through 7th grade, I was actually sent to in-school suspension twice because I overreacted to things.
Well,
and eventually, the weird thing is, the one thing that motivated me to do better in school, because for one thing, I got my first D on a report card in semester 1, quarter 1 of 7th grade. My mom and dad were so pissed. Oh my God.
hey, just a question. Are we in the elementary school portion or the middle school
No,
portion?
we're in the middle school portion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, middle school Shnick. Shitty RPGs well in production. So, what happened is, the one weird thing that got me motivated to do better was that my uncle kept dangling a PlayStation 3 above my head.
What? Like literally or figuratively?
No, figuratively. He basically said if I made honors, I would get a PlayStation 3.
Made
in 7th grade.
Oh, fuck that.
No, by honors, I mean it had to be all A's and B's, like no C's, D's, and F's. I mean, thing is, if you're allowed 1 C, and that's it. By the end of 7th grade, I had 2 C's.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I got no PlayStation 3, and so my dad gives the same offer in quarter 1 of 8th grade, and the thing is, by 8th grade, you know, it's actually kind of poetic. In 6th grade, I resembled my elementary school self entirely. 8th grade, I began to resemble myself as I am today, physically, that is. 7th grade is like a weird amalgamation of the two. Like, it's a big transition. Like, I don't know why. By 8th grade, like, I had no friends. And my only retreat was on the weekends when I was actually allowed to play games. And the thing is, because I was bullied, and all the time at that point, especially when they actually came up with a new reason. When I actually made honors, I proudly proclaimed in my homeroom I was getting a PlayStation 3, and because my class in 8th grade as a whole was mostly made up of people who owned an Xbox 360, they were like, why? Xbox is better. Basically, it was a lot of Xbox fanboys making fun of me. That's why when I was watching the hardcore kids smegged up YouTube failures lists, he claimed that Sony fanboys were the worst, and I never understood why he claimed that, because to me, all fanboys are bad. Like, the Xbox fanboys, oh my god.
Okay, real fast. Do you know who's the worst fanboys of all? Really, if you go to their website and stuff, I went down in the rabbit hole one time, looked at this stuff. What's worse than game console wars? Worse than political rants, SJWs? Worse than, you know, scientist things, anti-scientists, whatever? Fan shipping. They are crazy.
Fan shipping? What's
yeah.
That?
It's when on a TV show or anime or cartoon or comic, they put two people together as a couple.
I thought that was just called shipping. I didn't know fan shipping was the official. No, that's...
I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's just shipping. Maybe
I've always heard it was just shipping, not fan shipping or anything else before shipping.
Maybe you're right.
That's
I don't
what
know.
I've heard.
But anyways, they're crazy. You disagree with them? Like, they're crazier than political. They're crazier than political people.
I don't know. Political people can get pretty ridiculous. All a ship is, to me, is just kind of like, I don't know, maybe a fetish, somewhat. Like, not exactly a fetish, but...
Well, to you, to me and you, yes, but to the people who...
I mean, I don't know what shippers do, but we're getting off topic now.
But yeah,
also, by the way, I'd just like to point out, we have about half an hour left, and I don't know how long it's going to take for my portion.
Alright, well, let me try to finish. So, yeah. The thing is, I stopped acting retarded, because basically I did all the retarded things I did because I wanted attention. I wanted to be a show-off about how I was such a great guy at everything I did. But because I was being bullied constantly in 7th and 8th grade, I actually became a recluse almost. Like, I would not speak to anyone unless spoken to. In fact, I actually began to talk with the teachers far more than I did with the other kids. And yeah, so that just... So all the retarded stuff eventually just was saved for the second shitty RPG that Mario's now playing. Like, it was still there, like in 8th grade and maybe even a bit into 9th grade, but it was like mostly just done at home. And what eventually got me to learn was two things. One, my acceptance of watching generally trying out, like, generally any movie, TV show, or game. Like, basically, when my dad finally allowed me to start buying M-rated games, like, I just started playing actual good games and seeing, like, genuine good stories with good morals and whatnot. Like, all I watched when I was a kid, for the most part, was just dumb comedy. Where you could argue I never really saw what good morals were supposed to be, especially since a lot of what makes comedy work is people in pain. And yeah, so I was getting into like more serious stories, like Max Payne on the PS2 was one of such game. Like, it made me want to branch out big time alongside games like the original MGS. And then a second factor was in high school. Still, in high school, kids were a lot friendlier in high school. They were being more open to me. But at the same time, I just had a hard time talking to kids my age. I mostly just talked with the teachers. And eventually, philosophies put onto me by my band teacher, like, oh, when you think something is good, like months from now, like, I expect you to think it's bad. I want you to get better always. And it just continued well. Like, by the end of high school, like, I actually made a video project where I just blasted the Call of Duty series, like, and I wanted to be able to play better games. Like, I made a short film basically representing that. And I looked back at the short film right after making it and right after presenting it in class, and you know I got a good grade on it and the class enjoyed it. I looked back on it and I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. I don't think I want to watch this again. And sure enough, I have segments of the clips, but I don't have a completed version, and I'm not interested in recreating it at the moment. But yeah, then that's where a milestone was hit. This was in freshman year of high school. Freshman year of high school was the last year I actively worked on the shitty RPG that Mario's playing. I ended up playtesting the game, like, and I was like, wow, is this actually any good? And then a couple years later, towards the end of high school, my old computer dies. I lose RPG Maker VX, and when I get a new program, all I'm able to do is just play a free trial. And I played through the game, I played through the game again, I'm like, wow, this actually isn't that good. I play the game again when I re-obtain RPG Maker VX just about a year ago, and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
And is that when our two dominoes? Is this the time when our dominoes overlapped each other?
Yeah, I'm just doing a podcast right now, okay?
So this is when our two dominoes overlapped.
Yeah, this is basically basically I learned to just always do things good. Always hate yourself for the stuff you do, because ultimately it just encourages you to do better. And the thing is, my social skills have not improved very much. Like, even in college, I mostly just interact with I find myself, the domino effect, like you mentioned, like, in high school and, like, late middle school, I mostly just interacted with, like, my teachers. And that's just affected me today. Like, to me, like, today, I just get along with people older than I am, like, from earlier generations, better than I do with people of my own generation, because truth is, I don't understand my current generation well. Like, they're all addicted to Apple products, Beats, iPhones, and all that, regardless
like me.
Texting, Facebook, Twitter, it's always the new hashtag, always the new meme. Like, I just don't get all that.
But then he met me.
Yeah, like that, and Mario currently now suffers through what remains of the old me.
Yeah, I was. That's why I met Snick. I was still getting over the church betrayal, and then I was just going on YouTube. My life was YouTube for a long time. Just like watching videos on YouTube, and I met Snick, and then the rest is history. Our paths crossed because there were dominoes. I seriously doubt if we would be where we are now, for YouTube friends at least, if our dominoes fell the way they fell.
Yeah.
So what are your dominoes, Mario? That led you from autistic crazy kid to the YouTube producer you are today?
Oh, now you get it right. I mean, okay, I only have 20 minutes to explain this shit. Fuck. Okay.
That'll teach you not to go on tirades, huh?
Oh, what fucking... Well, maybe. I don't know. Well, anyways, okay. So, I explained my backstory, and I think there was some other miscellaneous things that I never explained before. But basically, it's really strange because as an autistic person, when I was a kid, I thought I acted normal, to be completely honest with you. And
same.
And I think that a lot of other autistic people think the same way, even though in reality they act way differently compared to other people, or, you know, it's whatever. They just think it's normal. And personally, I actually thought that, oh, the way I acted was the way other people normally act too, but my vision of other people was just skewed because assumption? I don't know. But, yeah. I had problems as a kid. For example, I couldn't exactly get my ideas explained very well. This ties in with something that I'll probably, well, not probably, definitely will explain a little bit. And, oh, I also had a huge anger problem. I don't know why my back is itchy right now. But, I had a huge anger problem, like, fucking huge. Let's see. Surprisingly, even though I was a really autistic person, unlike Vandalia and Schnick, I somehow had friends, and I don't know how that happened. I'm honestly not.
I'm not saying I never had friends. It's just that I lost them by the time they had grown up and realized that I was a shithead.
Well, the other thing too is that, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that when I mean I had friends, I meant, like, I always had at least one friend. And, yeah, I did lose those past friends that were in elementary school. But then again, you know, I guess it's kind of like, that's what people would usually go through. There are probably exceptions, like if they're, like if they're really good friends, but I think the majority of people just lose their elementary friends, and that's just kind of, I think, at least what happens. But, there was one person in particular that decided to become a bully because his friends bullied me. And why? I literally cannot give you an answer. It could be that I just didn't act right. It could be... Well, honestly, I don't fucking know. They just bullied me for God knows why. And I never understood. But my retaliation would basically be bully the bullies back. And that's kind of how I dealt with it. Was it the best way? Well, no, but I didn't know any better. And especially so. But, yeah, so then my friend decided to bully me because he found out what was going on. And I remember one situation in particular late in elementary school years where, oh, actually before I continue, I need to point this out. almost every time I had a problem, I usually go to the principal. Why? Because I figured, well, the principal will do something, and the principal was pretty friendly. I don't do that anymore, by the way, in case you're wondering. But yeah, so I remember one time the principal, me, and the used to be friend was in the same room talking with each other, and we were trying to figure out how we could become friends again. And I remember one particular thing that he said and I said. Basically, he said that I was bullying his friends, and I asked, what friends? Because I never knew those people that were originally bullying me were his friends in the first place. I just never knew that. And maybe I didn't pick it up when it happened over the years, but yeah, I genuinely did not know that. So we talk about it, and basically, to sum it up, the whole talk, all it did was make me see how those people were friends with his, or not how, I don't know. Just, I guess, made me see that they were friends, but, I mean, it didn't really do much, because I couldn't get my ideas out. And the way I dealt with things got me in trouble a whole lot. Like, holy shit. Sometimes I even got suspended out of school, like I had to stay at home. That's how bad it got, because, well, I guess because I would fight back, perhaps. Because I did get in fights a lot, but yeah, I guess it was because I fought back. And I theorize that perhaps I got in trouble a lot because even though they clearly were bullying me, because I was fighting back and because of the fact I couldn't, you know, tell them that they were bullying me because difficulty speaking, they just decided to get me in trouble instead, which I don't really understand, because you'd figured that they'd eventually get that person and you talking to each other with them in the same room and figure out what's really going on. I figure they would have done that. Nope, just automatically get me in trouble every fucking time. And it's like no remorse. So then, yeah, there's that, and eventually we get to middle school, which is the last time I see that one used to be friend, because basically what happened is I saw he was in my middle school, which I was not hoping, or I was hoping that he would not be, but of course he was. I told the principal of that school what was going on, and then the last time I ever said something to him was, and he said something to me, was we both said hi, or hey, or whatever, passing each other in a hallway, and that was it. And then he just disappeared after that. He probably moved somewhere, he probably transferred to a different school, who knows. He's just gone. Oh yeah, and also speaking of losing friends, there was a friend that I lost during elementary school. Well, I guess kind of lost. I don't know. It's a weird situation, because what happened during the elementary school portion was I was hanging out with this one person, and there was this random person that was a kid around our age, and I didn't know who he was, but I just was like, okay. And, you know, nothing really went wrong until that kid decided to go to my used-to-be friend's house. Not the bully, but, yeah, and for some reason, he decided to pin me on something that never happened, and basically it was me hurting him or something. And because of that, that friend's dad hated me ever since. Just outright fucking hated me. And he would not want me at their house anymore at all. And I never understood why. And At least their mom thought otherwise and actually was still on good terms with me, and so was the friend, but the dad was just on bad fucking terms. And then one day something tragic happens. I'm not sure how it happened, but basically that friend's dad died.
Holy goddamn shit.
I never knew how he died, but he died. He was a police officer, but I don't want to say that he must have got killed during his work. No, I don't think that happened. It could be a possibility, but I don't know. Just never was told. So, yeah, he died somehow, and during that time, I thought that's sad, but at the same time, at least at the time, I couldn't help but think that it was also a good thing, because in my head, that also meant that I could hang out with that person again. But
did you say that to him?
Well, first off, it was a her. I never mentioned gender.
Oh,
but
her?
I don't think it's really important.
Did you say that to her?
No, I didn't really say that specifically to her. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I said that to her at all. That's just thoughts in my head. Actually, funny thing, every time I say or every time I said something like, I thought to myself, and then something that I thought to myself, someone else that I was talking to would literally assume I actually said it. That happened a lot as a kid. I don't know why. That pissed me off. But,
Wow.
But yeah, basically, that dad died somehow, and that's what I thought. I mean, make of it what you will, but at least I had, like, a feeling of, like, that's sad, you know? I mean, I wasn't totally, being mean, I guess. But, yeah, that's middle school. Wow, I need to really hurry up. I'm going fucking slow as shit. Okay, I'm just gonna summarize stuff from here on out. Okay, so basically middle school, pretty much what happened was I go to a specific middle school for the first year, 6th grade, and I fucking ended up hating it, like, really bad hating it because of the fact that I was put in a special ed class, and apparently I was put in a special ed program in elementary, but I didn't know of that. I personally consider me being in a special ed class the beginning of everything up to today because, well, to put it simply, that's when I first heard of autism. Before, I never knew what autism was, hence why I thought I acted the same as everyone else, or thought myself as normal. So, yeah. I at first liked the special ed class, then ended up hating it because of numerous reasons, mainly being the teacher, some of the students in there, and how easy the work was, the way they treated me, and, yeah, I think that's about it. Though, that wasn't the only part of the school I hated. I hated the school itself for other reasons, including, bullies, I think bullies at least, and some of the teachers. And that school had a huge bullying problem, by the way. In fact, that school was so bad that I actually managed to find a bullet on the floor of one of the bathrooms. My dad calls the school police about it, and the school police basically said he could either toss it in the trash or keep it as evidence. It was really fucking retarded. I think there was something else I was going to mention, but I forgot, so I'm going to continue moving on. So then I get into summer break, and we're transitioning between schools during the summer break, and the teacher that was running the special ed class told me that I could be in a high-functioning special ed class, which, by the way, was total fucking bullshit, because the first day that I got in that new middle school, in that class, the first words I heard from the teacher were, "Okay, class, today we're going to learn how to talk to people." Instantly rose my hand, asked to talk to the principal, and for this particular occasion, I'm not gonna say that, oh, I went to the principal because I was still acting the same way as I was before. No, I legit thought that if I went to the principal, something could actually be done about my problem, because I did not want to be in another one of those classes after fucking 6th grade. Fuck that shit. So I complained about it to the principal. My parents talked about it with the principal and probably some other specialists about it in terms of autisms and IEPs and stuff. And it came to a decision that if I kept my grades up, I would actually be able to not be in a special ed class, not have pairs and all that shit, but I'd still have an IEP and everything else, and I was still figuring out about that stuff. And I think 7th grade is when I first heard of IEP and started to learn what that was. This middle school was also the first year where they were starting to teach me about autism and what it was. And at first I was failing almost all my classes, but then because I was forced to stay in an office of someone I worked with to get my grades up, I actually managed to get from almost all F's to all A's. I didn't keep those all A's, but I kept pretty good grades up to that point. And then I don't think nothing in particular happened in 8th grade, so we're going to skip to high school. High school is where I felt that I guess middle school, 7th/8th grade, I felt I transitioned to being a normal person, but I would eventually realize that's not a thing. So, yeah, high school...
Question, is that when your dominoes crossed over with Brandon's?
Yeah, I think so. Because, I think it was 9th grade that I first met Brandon, and also, fun fact, I had 2 friends that were named Brandon. So, I eventually decided to call one of them Brandon, and then the other one Brandon, too. In fact, I even have that in my fucking phone's contact ID thing.
Who's Brandon 2? Our Brandon or the other Brandon?
Our Brandon.
So our Brandon's Brandon 2. What the hell?
Oh, and by the way, Brandon 1 actually came up just now as a notification on my Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, well anyways, so, yeah, I met Brandon, our Brandon, for the first time, and we became pretty good friends. And this is where my videography adventure starts, because I was looking through the list of classes to choose, and I didn't really find anything particularly interesting except for that video class, and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I guess I can give this a shot. And I fucking loved it, because the teacher was fucking amazing. I apparently liked the subject enough to actually legitimately learn something in school. And, I don't know, I guess I just stuck with it. And, yeah, so that happens, and then I guess nothing in particular happens in 10th grade up until the end of the year, where I actually moved. And I think moving to Phoenix right now, including, is my biggest obstacle. I know there's like 1 minute left, but I'm gonna try and finish this up. Don't worry, I'm not gonna take this much.
We can go over. We can go over if we need to.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna take too much longer here, so I'm gonna finish. But I think my biggest obstacle in my life, besides getting over my autism for the most part, is just moving, because, well, when I first had to move, I really did not want to. I was really upset about that, and it was actually to points where I had episodes where I would cry, and, well, I recorded what my house looked like, though I regretted the time I recorded it, because I could have recorded what my house looked like before we even started packing stuff up, but no, I did it like the last fucking day for God knows why. But yeah, I would just look at those recordings and I would just have crying fits, and this was while I was trying to sleep too. And if I had that crying episode, basically I could not sleep. I had to look at those videos and then calm down and then try again, and it was pretty bad. There might be other things that could have triggered the episodes. I remember one particular thing that triggered me, and I think it was the only thing that triggered me besides me trying to sleep and getting thoughts in my head, where there was a water park that I went to with a friend of mine for an entire day during a summer break, and we were there all day, and at the end of the day, we wanted to go on this one last ride, and I really didn't want to go on it because it was like a steep fall kind of thing. Like, you go up, and you have like this huge little tube thing, and multiple people get on it. You'd be pushed off, and it'd be kind of like, I don't know how it works, but I guess like maybe a little ramp, and then there's like a wall, and then it's like a steep fall from there. And I just really didn't want to do it. But here was a huge problem. The problem was that there was not enough people to go on there without me. If I was out of the picture, then all those people would not be able to go. And when I mean all those people, I mean without me, they would almost be full enough to actually go on there. But without me, they were not allowed to. And I had to decide whether or not I was going to go on the ride and let all those people ride on that, or disappoint everybody because I didn't want to go on it. And basically, I chose to go on it because I needed to, one, face my fears, and two, I did not want to fucking disappoint everybody. I would not like myself for a while, and I probably wouldn't like myself to this day for doing that. So, for everyone's sake that night, I went on the ride. And here's something interesting. At first, I was kind of shooken a little bit because of the adrenaline that was inside me. And I thought it was pretty awesome. It was scary, like I was screaming the entire time, I'll admit, but at the time I said that if I went on that again, then I would pretty much be able to do it again without resisting as much, and I think I could still do that. I don't know if I would change my mind if I went there, but who knows. But then something interesting happens. The adrenaline lowers down, and just I get in an episode just like that. I don't know what happened to cause that, but apparently me going in that ride and me having all that adrenaline and then eventually running out of the adrenaline somehow caused an episode, and I don't know how, I don't know why, it just did. So yeah, that caused an episode. And after living here for over a year, almost 2 years now, I've actually gone over the episodes to a point where it doesn't really happen anymore. I mean, if it were to happen, you'd probably have to do quite a lot to get me in an episode, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. No way. But do I still miss Colorado? Yes. Do I hate this place when it's fucking summer? Hell yeah. And also one last thing. So there's some thoughts that I had in my head on whether or not me moving to Arizona was also a good or a bad thing, because here's something interesting. There's some sacrifices that were kind of made. So first sacrifice, when I first moved, apparently I heard that Brandon had something going on where all of his friends were basically moving away, and including me. That upset me, and I'm still a bit frustrated about it because I was part of the problem, or at least I felt as though I was part of his problem, and being part of the problem just really upset me because I can't do anything about it, and I still can't do anything about it now. And there's that. There's also the fact that I have, like, 2 friends at max. One friend that I can hang out with a lot more than the other. I can definitely say that. I've had a cyberbully experience, and that was not fun. And for the most part, I didn't really have anyone at my school up until this year. Like, someone that actually legitimately likes me as a friend instead of fake friends, you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And I think I got lucky because this legitimate friend likes a lot of the things I like too, so that really works out in that sense. In another sense, I also got to work with video stuff in a church that I go to, because I went there one day because my dad's sister, I don't remember the term for me right now, but I'm just saying that because it's easier. My dad's sister was one of the singers in the choir there, and she referred me, or not, well, I guess she did refer me, but she told me about the video group there, and I told her I was interested in volunteering there. And they actually took me on, and I started being a cameraman there, and I eventually would do other things. But I did a video class in my high school, and it fucking sucked ass. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, it's really weird. Some sacrifices were made, and then there's also other good things that happen at the same time, and it's really strange, and I'm not really sure what to think of it even to now.
Well, that's the thing you need to bring out of it. Like, getting back to how I was saying how you always hate yourself for the stuff you do just to make yourself better. Kind of tying into that. So you moved to Phoenix, and you hate Phoenix with all your passion. You really want to go back to Colorado. You feel like a lot of shit got fucked up after you moved. But then, as you lived in Phoenix for longer and longer, and more things happened, you began to realize the good things that come out of it.
Yeah, that's
like how you're able to aid at a church with the video group, how you've also done things that you probably would not have done in Colorado, and not to mention all the stuff you're doing for Vandalia, me, and even with Brandon over Skype now.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the time when I first moved, and I'd still say even to now, I heavily rely on Vandalia, Schnick, and Brandon in an attempt to have some sort of social life, someone to talk to, because I have, well, when I first was here, I had basically no one. You could say I had that one friend, but he was extremely busy, so I consider that no one to talk to, except for those 3.
And that's when our dominoes crossed paths.
Well, like cross paths before I moved, but you, Schnick, Vandalia, both of you, and Brandon, all 3 of you were pretty critical in my sanity, to be completely honest with you, because I don't know.
Oh my god, the Shrek on Xbox freak out.
No, seriously.
Like, I swear to God, when you had that breakdown after Black Ops 3, because I think that's the only episode, so to speak, I witnessed of you. And I swear to God, after that Black Ops 3 stream, and you really just hated yourself and hated your situation after that, and then probably a moment later you thought, oh wait, Shrek on Xbox stream, I can watch that again. Shrek on Xbox freak out on his Let's Play, I can watch that again.
But yeah, I have to heavily rely on you 3, and like I said, I don't know what I would have done without you 3. And it's funny because at the same time, that also what goes into crossing dominoes with me and Schnick, and then Schnick introducing me to you, Vandalia, and it's kind of a complicated scenario when you're talking crossing dominoes, but it is a pretty critical thing for me, in my opinion. And I'm sure it is for the three of you as well.
Yeah. I probably would, if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have met you either if I became more introverted and less social with the time on YouTube.
That, and also it wouldn't have happened if Schnick didn't meet you, and it wouldn't have happened if Schnick didn't decide to talk to me when he saw what I did on my channel and invite me as like a guest star, and yeah.
Yeah, so like, alright, so those are dominoes. Well, that's from what we were.
You and Brandon introducing
to what we
to you too.
Yep. So those are the dominoes that led us to from where we are to what we are now. So remember, folks. Let's see. Let's review. Your dominoes are always falling, so let them fall where they may. Some games suck. Some games are awesome. And don't eat meat that fell on the floor, especially if they're $10 hot dogs. And with that, enjoy the randomness. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.